Let us begin with embodying effortless action. What a lovely day today to connect, to drop in, to share on such an amazing topic of being able to hop into the flow, being able to move, share, express yourself, create from a place of abundance within yourself. My voice is nice and low at the moment. I call it my sexy radio voice for your entertainment pleasure. And I invite you just to kick back, settle into this space. We'll have a little experience. I've got a slideshow for you. I guess we're just going to dive in. We'll just dive right in and see where it takes us. So let's go. Boop. Right here. And let's pop into this effortless action. If you have any questions, you can always send me an email, brad@bradzayak.com. My name is Brad. I work at I work with the High Vibe Collective here in Sedona, Arizona. We do amazing customized healing retreats for body work, human design, energy work, and guidance sessions such as this, energy skills, all sorts of fun stuff. So if you like what you see here, be sure to check us out. High Vibe Collective in Sedona. I like that transition. That was pretty fancy, wasn't it? As we get into today, we're going to start off with a very simple question to help get us in the mood, to get the mood right for us to be thinking and feeling what it is we want to get into today. And it's a very simple question that helps us do that. Who are you? Who are you? And there is many reflexive answers you might have to this. You might give me your name, but your name is just your name. That's not who you are. You might give me your occupation, but your occupation is just your occupation. That's not who you are. You might give me a hobby or a passion of yours, or some aspect of yourself you strongly identify with, some identity, identifying as a healer or as a light worker, any of that sort of business. But again, those are all just identities. That's not who you are. So let's put all that to the side for now. We can even have a nice breath as we do this, nice exhale. And really ask this question. Who are you? Who are you? And what we find is that this is not a question that's meant to be answered necessarily. I mean, we can say this or that, but this is a question that helps us start to explore the territory of expanding our identity, of expanding who we are, of expanding our sense of self and our capacity in this world. So when we talk about embodiment and awakening and enlightenment, so much of it is centered around this question. And if you just sit there and you just inquire and you allow yourself to ask this question without allowing the mind to answer it, and you really dig inside yourself and you ask this question, you may find some interesting things. So let's just kind of set the tone for us today, get us a nice little depth to play with. But we got a couple things we want to go over today in this overarching category of embodying effortless action. One, boom, check out that transition. Isn't that a beautiful transition? That slow fade from the right. First thing up on the agenda is abundance in your natural state. Just like this question is helping us go beyond our identities, go beyond the things that we hold on to and go right to the core of who we are. That's a big focus of what we're going to be looking at today. And the nature of abundance in its purest sense, going beyond just dollars in the bank account, though that is included in this. And we will share with you how to, increase those numbers if that's something that you wish. But more of the pure essence of abundance and how to access that and really live from that place. Boom, here we go. Coming in. Boom, there it is. Burnout and where it comes from. Burnout is one of these things that, especially as people are waking up and they're trying to live with more purpose or live more in alignment with themselves, they run into walls or they run into exhaustion or fatigue and burnout. So I want to help break that down for everyone and show you where it comes from and how to move beyond it with ease. Next up, we're going to show you the very practical process of how you release into effortlessness. So when we talk about effortless action, I'm not giving you another thing to do. I'm not adding anything to your to-do list. In fact, we're trying to take things off of your to-do list and allow you to trust the natural movement of your soul to guide you through life. So one thing to keep in mind is if we're ever accumulating or adding things that we think we have to do, or strategies for success, that we know that we're moving away from effortlessness. And instead, we want to focus on the release process and how we can relax and release into our true being and the natural energy flow that comes from there. And then lastly, we're going to play with it. We're going to put it in practice, going to help you go through it in real time and experience a release in real time and feel more of that abundance, more of that effortlessness. So you can take that with you as you move forward with your day. All right. First up, abundance. Abundance. So let's start by just in your own mind's eye, in your own heart center, calling up for yourself what abundance means to you in its truest sense. Again, beyond, it includes dollars in the bank account, but we're looking for a bit more than that. And one thing you can do to start to feel this frequency or this energy or this feeling of abundance, with our goal being today to allow that frequency to fill every cell of your body, is to start to just look around you right now. If you're in a room, look around the room and just notice, the vast majority of you watching this, perhaps all of you, will have shelter. The vast majority, if not all of you, will have food in a refrigerator or just accessible to you. Maybe some of you live in the van. I don't know. I did that for a while, but still I had food, still I had shelter. You have the people in your life. You can go outside and you can connect with the beautiful weather. You can connect with the beautiful essence of being outside or being inside for that matter. There's such a pristine perfection to this right here, right now moment. And as we move into this space, I want you to remember this is more than just a theory. This is not just something that we think to be true. I want to invite you to take this into your heart and take it into every cell of your being right now, to really believe. And even for some of you, may be able to move beyond belief into the direct experience of the sensation of abundance, of everything being taken care of everything being full and vibrant and alive. Now, this is abundance. As you notice, it doesn't matter where you are, who you are. It doesn't matter how many dollars are in the bank account or not in the bank account. It doesn't matter how many friends you have or don't have. The abundance is just here. It's the truth of who you are. It's the truth of how the universe works. It is abundant. It is providing for us. Now, what takes us out of the perception of that, and this wording on the slide here is a little bit misleading because you can't be taken out of abundance. Abundance is who you are. It's your natural state. But what takes our perception away from it, or what makes us believe that it's not there, is just that, just a series of beliefs. It's any form of polarized thinking. Now, what I mean by this is when you categorize the world into good or bad, or light and dark, or even high and low, where this polarization is what fractures your perception and starts to compartmentalize this over here and this over there. And now you're not seeing the world as it is. So another way to say this, how we might experience this is judgments of saying, oh, this is good, this is bad. Oh, I like this, I don't like that. I'm going to try and hold on to this, and I'll try and push away that. All of those are presupposed on the idea that you need to do something in order to get somewhere, which is kind of silly, right? Um, and, we understand this. Many people listening will already be well along their spiritual path here and have had heard these things before. But what we're doing today is we're taking it beyond a thought and we're taking it into really what does that mean for you right now? We're taking it all the way through. So if we stopped judging our situation that we're in right now, you know how much energy that frees up for you to actually do something about it rather than just feeling bad about it. You actually have freed up the energy to move forward and take action in this forward. So it's the same thing with comparisons, with doubt. If you're looking at your situation that technically speaking is so abundant, so rich, so full, and you're comparing it to someone else who, quote unquote, appears to have more than you, that's a lot of work for the mind to create that imagination, that fiction that this person is more well off than you. Sure, maybe they've got, their Lambos, their Ferraris. Maybe they've got a swimming pool filled with gold coins. Like what is that? The DuckTales? Mr. Scrooge, right? You'd just be able to swim in gold coins. Maybe you want to be like that and you're comparing yourself to that. And anyone compared to that is quote unquote poor. But it's like a lot of work to tell that story. If you feel into it, like you could just totally drop that story and then boom, right where you are right now would actually just be great. So how often are we doing this throughout our day where really and literally our life is really just grand and great and we're taken care of? And then we work really hard to have this thought, this comparison that, oh, because my life doesn't look like someone else's, I must be poor or I must not be experiencing abundance right now. I must not be doing the right thing. Okay, you can't do the right or wrong thing from this sort of judgmental perspective, like where the mind's trying to calculate and strategize. It doesn't work. So this extends to doubt and to repressed feelings. You might be going in an amazing direction of creating and expressing and expanding and overflowing, and then doubt creeps in, or these feelings come up, and all of a sudden it just closes you down. So these are some of the things that take us out of abundance and start to drain our energy and sap our energy here. Whoa, what a spin. Did you see that? Look at this. Look, I'll do it again. Boom. Okay, one more time. Ready? That's how abundance works. I put that in there on purpose because there's a lot of spirals involved in abundance. Okay, burnout. Here's a simple quote for us to just kind of take to our hearts, right? Burnout comes from living someone else's life. I mean, I could say that also as burnout comes from attempting to live someone else's life, because you can't live someone else's life, really. You can just try and then get exhausted and burnt out, get frustrated, get bitter, any of those things. This is where burnout comes from at a fundamental level. So, so I guess we could call it a day there, wrap up. No, just kidding. No, but this is important. So let's take this a little bit further and start to look at, okay, well, what about my own life? How could I get caught up living someone else's life? So the foundation of this first thing is understand is that your life is self-energizing. And you have all have felt this. When you do something you actually want to do, it doesn't drain you. If anything, it fills you up. Or even if it requires a lot of exertion, maybe it's an amazing creative project or a job you really love and you work really hard at it all day. At the end of the day, you might have a sense of like that you used your energy, that you like had a full day, but it doesn't, like, for your soul is still light within that. Your spirit is light. It's not weighed down or exhausted or heavy or burnt out. And this is one thing you can notice in small or big ways within your own life as you just find what you genuinely love to do, what you're passionate about. You'll notice, you'll go into that. You put your heart into it, you fully engage, you fully get into it. And at the end of it, you are more energized or more inspired or more connected than when you started. Isn't that interesting? So the steps that you take in your life, if it's part of your life, it's going to bring more energy in. You're going to bring more energy, more vitality, more aliveness, more connectedness. And if you have things just filling your life, either by default, just because someone expects you to do it, or because it's what you have been doing for a long time, or because it's what you inherited, then those are things that, because it's not your life, it's coming from someone else. It's like what your parents wanted you to do, or it's, what your partner thinks you should do. And you're just, or what you think you need to do for your kids. And now you're living your kids' life, living your life for your kids. It's like all those people that we love and care about. And like, this is not, no shade on anyone here. Like we love these people and we want to do what's best for them. But I'll tell you that part of this process is opening up to the fact that what is best for, like, what your heart is telling you, what is best for your life, is actually what's also best for them. This is the thing that we want to wrap our heads around and take in, because your life has within it the seeds of your own vitality and energy. And there's a beautiful harmony to it. And it's something that only you can discover, and no one else can do it for you. No one else can give it to you. So it takes that discernment of being able to see what in your life is of yours and what is not yours, or what is coming from outside of you. And this is also very natural. And that's to say that this isn't hard work. It's actually the opposite of hard work. It's like really, really amazing fun and play, if we want to say it like that. Because you're still engaged. It's not passivity or dissociation or disconnection. There's still a high level of energy, but it's very playful and enjoyable. And we'll get more to that later too. This is something with a lot of ease in it as well. And you're shifting from having some kind of mental thought of, this is what I have to do to get here, to get here, to get here. And if I follow these steps, I'll eventually get to somewhere where my life is bearable. To instead just being like, oh, actually, can I tune into the space and experience the feeling within frequency within my body right here, right now, even if it's hard, of everything being okay? Can I at least accept my life as it is now? And then as we accept it, as we potentially embrace it, potentially bask in the gratitude for it, and this is where it goes into making gratitude lists and things like that. The point is not to just list the most number of things. The point is to help yourself access this feeling and energy of gratitude, and to have that energy vibrate through the cells of your body, so that that's the frequency that your body is emanating, where everything is good and everything is abundant. And from that place, you're going to magnetize experiences and energy, and experiences, opportunities, relationships. They're going to come to you. They're going to show up right in front of you in the most beautifully, divinely organized fashion. The most perfectly, amazingly synchronized, synchronistic, pronoic, if you know that word, sort of way. We're following the energy. And what I mean by following the energy is that instead of having an idea of the things that you think you should do, when those go away, it's like, okay, well, how do you decide what to do? It's like, okay, well, now you do the thing that actually brings energy into your body, the thing that lights you up, the thing that you can see all the way through, that you can commit to, that feels fulfilling or uplifting or enjoyable. You're following the energy of things, not some imagined strategy. This is how to get out of burnout, by the way. So here are some examples of the things that take you out of your life. And there's some of this familiar kind of thing, right? Judgments, polarization of the mind. When you're in your life, you're following your natural state, you're following the energy, you're having a blast, you're showing up to the day, you're loving, you're having compassion for people, you're helping out your fellow human in the way that only you can. And then there's all the, yeah, but I should have, I would have, could have, did I do the right thing? Is this safe? Is this not safe? Is this person a good person or not person? Is this person spiritual enough for me to spend time with or not? Does this person have enough crystals in their collection for me to accept them as my friend? It's like, no. Never enough crystals, right? Am I right? Not unless they're wearing them on their sleeve. How cool would it be if I had a crystal on my sleeve right now? I don't. I guess you can't be friends with me, huh? Oh, so no shoulds, no crystals on the sleeves, no musts, and especially our expectations too of how the day should go or how things should go or how quickly things should go. All of these things are take away from you being present and moving and expressing through your life. These are all highly energized things that drain, like the mind turns on fully and uses a lot of energy to create expectations, create projections, and all these sorts of things. Okay. So we'll go over how to release these in just a minute here. But before we do that, let's swipe that up. Swipe that up. Let's talk about putting it together in the form of effortless action. Moving and deciding from your natural state. This is a definition of effortless action, where when we are in our natural state, feeling centered, heart centered, body centered, you'll find that the mind is not so busy. It's not racing and running all the time. It is a servant to you. The mind is not meant to rule you. It's meant to be your servant and your tool and something to use. So when you're in your natural state of flowing, moving, breathing, enjoying, playing, expressing, sharing, loving, helping, assisting, growing, evolving, the process of moving and making decisions from this free and clear place is what we're calling effortless action. It's also the fast track to abundance in all forms. And the fast track to the manifestation of, more dollars in your bank account is creating, moving, and expressing from a place of freedom, of not needing anything from the world, but here to express and live through it. This is what effortless action is. So that's what I said: abundance, playfulness, enjoyment. These are some of the key things that help us identify our natural state. And here's a really, really good question to help us deepen it. If we're ever in doubt, or if we're, we have a moment, we want to get proactive. What are you doing and why are you doing it? Really, we muster up all the honesty that we can. Muster up all the honesty that we can. You take a moment, and we'll do a little bit of this here in a second together, so I can show you how this process works. Muster up all the honesty you can, and you just really, really, really look. Honesty. You're not judging yourself. You're not making yourself into a villain or a victim. It's just looking at things from the most human, the highest perspective, from the most loving perspective. Just looking at what you're doing and why you're doing it. And the more that we can see that clearly, naturally what happens is you're going to fall into your natural state. You're going to see stagnant emotions, repressed feelings, any sort of stuck energy come up right to the surface for you to breathe, for you to exhale, for you to let go of and release and say goodbye to. And that sets you up for moving and deciding from your natural state, is this release of energy. So so it can be, as you're moving into this in a new way, there can be some very helpful things to add consciously, to consciously create and to consciously add into your day-to-day environment to help you stay and become more familiar with and deepen in this embodied effortless action state. Wow, what a mouthful, huh? Primary one, obviously, is honesty. And this is honesty not only with others, but especially with yourself. These questions like, what are you doing and why are you doing it? How honestly, how deeply, of the highest integrity, how can you ask that and see what comes out of it? and the vulnerability, the willingness, the courage that it requires to do so. Same thing with patience, because this ain't happening on your timeline. Magic's not happening on your timeline. All you can do is open up, you can release, you can let go. But when it comes to the timeline of things, there's a very specific timing, divinely speaking, of how this has to happen, because part of this process too is really discovering what you actually do want. Because especially early on in the journey, there's so much of what you think you want that's really, you start manifesting and it starts showing up and you're kind of like, oh, well, I thought I wanted that, but now that it's here, it's like kind of feels a little bit off. So that helps us fine tune patience, discernment of being like, okay, well, now that I can see, the sort of carnival rides for what they are, you get presented with this opportunity. It's not that anything that shows up serendipitously you have to say yes to. It's not that every synchronicity is this means you have to say yes to it. All of those are just the universe saying, hey, would you like this? Hey, would you like that? And then you get to feel within your heart, within your body. Maybe you can do some muscle testing. You can feel if you expand towards it, or if you lean towards it, or if it's kind of heavy, or you move away. And now you can skip out on all of these detours and just go the direct path of just really being clear on what your role is this time around in this incarnation, in this body that you got. And of course, along with that is a compassion for yourself and for others, but especially for yourself, in understanding where you've come from, what you've been through, and allowing yourself to let go of anything, quote unquote, you might have done wrong or bad. Again, just judgments. And they can be very convincing. They can be very real. But as we have compassion for ourselves, as we're creating the space in our heart, in our field around challenging emotions, as we're expanding beyond and getting bigger than challenging emotions and embracing them with love, all of a sudden they dissolve and they reveal themselves. And part of that too is trust. Trusting the process kind of goes along with patience. That this isn't happening on your timeline. And, you're learning to walk in the dark. And you're learning to move into the unknown. So there's a necessity for trust with all that. So now we're going to practice this together. I hope all that made sense. Let me see here. I'm going to stop the screen so I can see if what's going on here. Okay, there's that. There's that. No comments. Okay, we're good. All right, we'll go back to this. All right. Practice time. So you see there's 7 steps here. This is just a very simple practice. I'm going to share a couple of things with you. The titles are kind of self-explanatory, and as we go through it, I'll invite you just to play with it, and potentially you could like screenshot this or something or pause the video if you're watching the replay and check it out and try it again in different forms, in different contexts. But it's a very simple process on how to release burnout, to release your judgments, your perceptions, and to step into more of your natural state that's going to allow you to move from this effortless action place. Okay. So first up is a fresh breath. We just take a nice big inhale all the way deep down to the belly. Hold it briefly for a moment up the top, and then have an audible sigh exhale. Now we want to do this a couple times just to kind of freshen us up. And the whole idea here is we're using the breath to temporarily clear the body of any extraneous lingering charges. Just releasing, getting to a center point of clarity, of refreshment. We can just forget everything we've ever known. We can, just for this moment, just forget what we've been talking about today. We don't need to hold on to that right now. We're going to go right into practice time. Nice big breath, audible sigh, releasing, letting go of the day, letting go of the past, letting go of the future day. Just for right now. We can afford to be here just right now, just for this moment. And so now, as we just clear a little space, now we want to connect with yourself. For some, this might be nice just to put your hand over your heart or just to feel your heart and connect with the purest essence of who you are. Not something to know or grasp or get a hold of. It's kind of something you fall into when we're no longer needing to be right or wrong, when we no longer need to know it or not know it, where you can just feel yourself flowing, emanating, radiating. You can feel yourself being present, even feel the essence of your presence itself. Just right here, right now, moving, growing, evolving, settling in and honing in with crystal clear clarity and sharp alertness, utter relaxation, and clarity of connectedness. And as we start to connect with that feeling of ourself, just our purest essence moving through the body, through the heart, let's start to amplify it a little bit. Imagining or commanding for all the cells within your body to speed up. Commanding the pure essence of your frequency of yourself to speed up, to amplify, to move faster, brighter. To feel more energized, more alert, more awake. Still with such ease, with such grace, with no pressure, with nothing, nowhere, no shape, no form having any sort of hold over you. Just pure selfdom right now. Just pure selfness. And from this place, I want you to tune into an activity within your life that you perceive to be exhausting. Something exhausting or something that's associated with burnout. Now, as you invite that in, you feel the shift in your energy. Just notice it. Just notice the shift. Notice how you feel now. How is it that you feel now? If you had to put a name to it, take a moment to feel it and then try and find a really good, really specific, really clear name for it. Is there a heaviness? Do you feel exhausted? Do you feel burnt or spent? However you feel, is that something that you could let go of? Is that something that you would let go of? And when would you let go of it? Right? And to the best of your ability, if it's not already, let's set that feeling free. Allow it to be, allow it to move. And we can have another audible sigh. And we can, even if it wasn't a perfect release, let's go back to connecting with yourself. Again, to this abundant state that we don't need any reason to feel. We don't need to be good at releasing in order to feel ourselves. We don't need to have had a good release or to have a complete release. We can just fully let go of the idea of releasing and go right back to yourself. And the flow and the movement of energy within yourself, the ease, the pleasure of it, the enjoyment of it, the beauty of it as well. Letting that amplify, letting it speed up. And from this place, let's tune right back into that thing that was causing you burnout, that thing you tuned in before. Just imagine it. And notice how you feel. Again, finding as specific as you can, a word to describe this particular feeling that's going on in your body right now. Aside from what it has felt or what you expect it to feel, but literally right here, right now, how is it feeling? And however you're feeling, whether it's, lighter or you're still pretty heavy, whatever the feeling is, even if it's a great feeling, even if you feel absolutely, utterly peaceful inside, let's go ahead and let that go as well. Let's set it free. As best you can, just let it go. Release. Let's keep it this simple. Okay. So I'll invite you just from this place again, as you just set that free and you just touch on yourself, the abundant state. And maybe have a sigh or a breath. And then once again, tune into that thing one more time. That thing that's causing you burnout or exhaustion. How does it feel now? Again, whether it feels good, bad, indifferent, whether it feels the same, doesn't matter. You can't do this wrong. Every little breath you take is helping you. So just take that breath in, feel that feeling, notice specifically what it is, and then let it go, set it free. Expand beyond it. Sink into the space around, beneath, above it, beyond it. Into your natural state. And then after you're doing some work like this, it's nice just to kind of, either press your feet into the ground, press your hands together, just to feel and squeeze your muscles in your body. If you're enjoying this, I do invite you to continue doing it at your leisure. And this is a very simple process you can do with anything beyond burnout. If you're having challenges in your relationships or in your work life or in your spiritual life, whatever, taking this process, one, to clear out at the beginning with the fresh breath and the audible sigh, just clear the slate, get to as clear, empty slate as you can, and then connect to abundance, your true self, your natural state. Amplify that abundance by speeding it up through your command and decision to amplify. And then in that heightened state, bring some polarization in, something that you're afraid of, something that is heavy, something that you're working on, or something you love as well. And you can release that as well and discover more about yourself by releasing around things you love as well. We actually want to release everything, again, because we're not holding on to anything. You don't want to hold on to positivity as much as you want to push away negativity. We're just releasing everything unconditionally and settling into this freedom state beyond it all. And you can just repeat as needed. So, what a fun time. Thanks for doing that with me, y'all. This was such a blast. Isn't that fun? Isn't that such a ride? Such a good time. Well, it's been such a blast to chat with you today and to share a little bit about this situation. I'll invite you, if you felt really good about this, to come see me in Sedona at the High Vibe Collective if you're in town, if you're visiting. I also do remote work. TrueYouMindBody.com, BradZayak.com also works as well to find me. And like I said, you can email me, brad@bradzayak.com. I'd love to hear how this landed for you. I'd love to hear your feedback. All in all, such a good time, such an amazing opportunity to chat with y'all. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.